welcome back, everybody, to another edition of FSI's video breakdown for our PGA contest. This week, we're at the Detroit Golf Club for the Rocket Morgage Classic. I am here with John. John has just become one of our staff members here at FSI. Congratulations, John. How are you doing tonight?
Thank you. Very good. I'm excited to chat some PGA and ready to get into another good week.
Awesome. Yeah, if you noticed last week, John and I were having a little connection issues, but this week we've settled on a good connection, and we're excited because now we can finally banter back and forth on picks, and we don't have to wait for a little
Yes,
delay.
Much better.
Much better indeed. All right. Well, John, this week we got Detroit. Why don't you kick us off with a little preview of the course and what to expect?
Okay, sounds good. This is Detroit Golf Club. It's about 7,300 yards, par 72, a Donald Ross design. This course does not have many hazards. There's water on exactly one hole. There is some sand out there, but really the golfers are not going to be dealing with the fest, just like last year. The only difference I see, they're cut the rough about a half inch longer this year, so guys who missed the fairway are going to deal with just a little bit more, but honestly, they shot 25 under was the winner last year. We're going to see a score about that high again. 9 under was the low round last year, shot 3 different times. I could easily see somebody getting to 10 under this week, so I expect a lot of birdies. Couple things we're looking at here, key stats, birdie or better, obviously. We're looking at par 5 scoring. Really, all the par 5s are gettable. The par 5 17th last year allowed birdie or better to over half the field.
Love that.
So it's just crazy. These guys are just going to destroy this course again. And so shots gained approach, shots gained short game was really important last year, specifically putting. Most of the golfers who finished top 10 putting were top 15 overall for the week. So I'm definitely looking at putting this week. And then since we're really just 3 weeks from the stoppage, I am looking at current form from just the last 3 weeks. A little bit of 2020 form, but mostly just how guys are doing since the break. Some guys played 3 times. Some of these guys, it's their first trip out. So a little tougher on them, but those are kind of the stats I'll be focusing on this week.
Brilliant. And as always, John, I love the breakdown, and thank you for getting me on to strokes gained short game. That was one that I had left off my model, and I think that's going to be pretty critical when it comes to finding good value plays, good plays in that 7K range. Okay. Well, with that being said, let's kick it off into our 10K range, and we got to start with the topic at hand, what to do with Bryson DeChambeau. 11.7. That's a hefty price on DraftKings. Where do you think we could find good exposure for Bryson?
Well, it's going to be tough. I'll play him in quite a few lines this week, probably about maybe a little over the weight of ownership, but not in cash. I don't see any way you can fit him into your cash lineups. As we get down to the bottom, the low 7K and really the 6K guys, there's not a lot to love this week. The last few weeks, we found a lot of gems down there, guys we really liked going in. I don't feel the same confidence about those guys this week. I think the bottom has completely fallen out in this event versus what we saw the last couple weeks. So Bryson, to me, really is a GPP play, but I think he's a strong one. He's a little bit better priced over on Yahoo and potentially FanDuel as well, but on DraftKings, GPP only.
Yeah, I would have to agree. My exposure to Bryson is going to be in high stakes GPPs, and I'm going to try to find some of them low 6s, low 7s, maybe 1 8K guy to pair with them for a high stakes GPP, and just try to hope I can fixate on one of them darts to really nail it and try to find myself at the top that way with Bryson, because I feel like any event he enters, it's the top 10. And he could easily lap the field, and he could easily win this week.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so with that, let's kick it off with your favorite play at the 10K range.
Sure. Well, besides Bryson, obviously there's a lot to love about him, but I'm going to be playing Tyrell Hatton this week, 10,700. I'm thinking maybe play him in cash. We'll see as we get down to Wednesday. But since the stoppage, he is number 1 average short shots gained short game. I'm not using his total short game numbers because he only played the one event. So I'm certainly not going to be comparing him to guys like Bryson who played every single week. So adjusting as we're looking at the stats for that a little bit. For the same, since the stoppage, he's number 1 in putting. He gained 9.3 strokes on the greens at the Heritage. It's just nuts how good he was doing. Also, his last miscut was in March of 2019. I know he missed a few events because of injury, but certainly a guy who's going to be going a full year without missing a cut might be worth taking a look at in cash. I think his ownership will come in a little lower than the guys around him. Patrick Reed will be popular. We all know Webb Simpson and Bryson are going to be popular as well. So I'm hopeful to get him at a little less ownership, cash and GPPs.
I think Terrell comes in around 11-12% this week for ownership. He's going to get sucked into that range as the forgotten guy. Him and Hideki, people are a little scared of Hideki's form. So I think those two guys are going to be the low owned in this range. That's going to lead me to my favorite guy in the 10K range, Victor Hovland. Big Vic is a elite striker of the ball. He is second in both approach and ball striking. He's coming in with 21st, a 23rd, and a 32nd in the last 3 weeks. He's elite. I wouldn't say elite, but he's a good putter when it's on, and he was not making many putts. But I looked at his strokes gained putting numbers from last year, 4.9 strokes gained on the greens last year at this event, which led to a 13th finish. So really in love with Big Vic this week, and I can see a lot of betting cards with his name at the top of the list. So we're going to roll down right into the 9K range, and my 9K guy is right below him, and that's right where I'm going to start my cash lineups. Big Vic, right into Sanjay M. M has limped around the last couple of weeks. He's made the cut on the number last week, and he rolled it into a good Sunday. Almost went bogey-free, but he bogeyed 2 of the last 3 holes. But M, as we know, is a grinder, as everyone loves to call him, the new Hideki bot. He plays every event. He tries to make every cut. He missed one at the RBC this year, but he's pretty good around the green, and he's been rock solid off the tee. I think he's 7th off the tee, and he is coming along with his irons. He gained over 3.4 on the irons last week, and I feel like his ownership might be a little low. I don't know. It's hard to gauge Sanjay ownership on Mondays, but
yeah, I think he'll be popular personally. I really like the pick, and I think a lot of other people see what you're seeing there, expecting him to bounce back. So I think he's a really good cash play. I think he'll be pretty highly owned, but for good reason. So for my pick in this range, I'm going to go ahead with Kevin Na. He's a whole lot cheaper at 9,100. Kevin Na is not going to blow anybody away with his work off the tee. But certainly when it comes to his irons, the short game, and really the putting, this guy can put it all together. We've all seen him win a couple events a year. That's usually his MO is once or twice a year. He just pops up and wins when that putter gets rolling. So a couple stats on him since the stoppage, top 10 in his average shots gained tee to green. That's not very common for him, but I'll take it. He's gained in every single round so far since the stoppage, tee to green. Also gained on approach and ball striking in each round. And he's number 3 shots gained putting over the last 50 rounds on bent grass. So putting, no problem for him. I'm certainly going to be playing at Kevin Na, and he's a player either. He's never super popular on DraftKings. A lot of other guys around him that are bigger names that people would rather click on. So I'll take Kevin Na.
Love it. Last name I'm going to give in the 9K range because I feel like you could play Ricky and you could play Finau, and I feel like people will play Ricky and Finau. I don't think many people need to know to play Ricky and Finau at a course like this, in a field like this. I think those are going to be popular picks. I think you could easily play them in GPPs. But one guy I feel like is going to come in lower owned because of them two players is Scotty Scheffler. Scotty Scheffler burned so many people out of 6-6 lineups last week because he was 8K instead of 9K. And a lot of people had him as golfer 3, and a lot of people were pissed about that missed cut, including myself, if you can't tell.
Yeah, me too.
I would have had a 6-6 in tiers and a 6-6, 2 more 6-6s to go along in a very small
Scotty.
percentage. I know. It's just one more freaking putt. Anyway, he's traditionally a strong par 5 player. He does really well off the tee. He makes birdies in bunches. I think he's 7th in birdies, and birdies are better gained. He has been struggling around the green and with his putting. So I'm skeptical because, like you said, putting is very critical this year, or at Rocket Mortgage Classic. So you have to have a good putter. So that worries me. But as a GBP play for Scotty, I can see myself going to him because of the numbers he can put up on par 5s. He can put up the eagles, the birdies, and he could string them together. So with a guy like that at 9K with Kevin Na around him, Neiman, or Finau, Fowler, I think that's a strong GBP play. Okay, 8K range. Not in love with it, so I'm going to need your help. What do you got?
Sure. I like a couple guys here. I'm going to start right at the top. Obviously, Harris English has withdrawn from COVID. I expect we're going to see a couple more of those guys this week, but he is the first to drop, if you will. But I'm going to take right below him Sabatini. So Rory Sabatini's been playing well. He was 3rd here in 2019, so I really like that. There's not a lot of guys that are playing this year that I really want to play like him, or Patrick Reed maybe, that did well last year, but Sabatini's in that group. I do want to get some exposure there. He also finished 21st at RBC and 14th at the Charles Schwab, so I am interested in the current form. And then since the stoppage, to number 3 in short game, number 4 in putting. Absolutely what I'm looking for around the greens. I'm going to take a bunch of Rory Sabatini this week. I don't know if I'll play him in cash, but he'll certainly find his way into my other lines. The other guy that will be very, very popular that everyone's going to be talking about, Doc Redman at 8,500. There's a lot to love there. He's made all 3 cuts so far since the return. What I don't like is the price increase. We're used to seeing him more like 7 to 7,500, and in a really good field, he's a 6K guy. This week, 8,500. That's tough. I don't know if I can get there in cash because of the price. I would love the pick otherwise, but we'll see. He was 58th, 21st, and then 11th last week. So very, very popular in the form. Let's see. He was 2nd place here last year. He qualified via the Monday qualifier and went on to finish 2nd. So certainly a lot of interest there. And last bit about him, he gains strokes only on bent grass. He's not a great putter, but at least he gains on bent grass. The last 36 rounds, he's 7th in shots gained approach, 11th tee to green, and he is 5th in opportunities gained over the last 36 rounds. So he's giving himself shots at birdie, and if he can sink some putts, he's going to be up there on the leaderboard again.
Love it, John. Real quick shout out, all our stats and models and stats and models are done on fantasynational.com. Just want to give them a quick plug and thanks for all that they do for us. It's an awesome website. I'm going to roll right into my 8K play. Eric Van Rooyen, kind of a WGC kind of play, because usually he is a risk for a miscut or a top 5, but he is popped in the model to go along with my plug for the Fantasy National. He came in 5th in the model. He was 21st at the RBC 2 weeks ago, 16th in approach, 7th in ball striking, 6th in birdies or better, and he's 10th in my favorite proximity from 200 plus, which had the most shots from this distance in last year's tournament. So I'm going to go with a little Eric Van Rooyen, the South African, and see if he can find himself to the winner's circle. I was also thinking about betting him. I don't know the number, but I can't imagine him being 8K. He's got to be what, 50 plus?
I don't have it in front of me, but I
I
would
don't
love
either, but I'm just
the
guessing.
play
Yeah.
for him a top 5. I would love the
Yeah.
top 5 bet. I don't know about outright winner, but certainly top 5. I would have no problems with that.
A bet with like maybe a top 5 each way would be an awesome bet on Royan. I don't know. He pops in the model. I'm going to trust the model. And I've seen some bad from Van Royen over the years, and I've seen some good. So I'm going to go with him for 8K. Good job covering Doc. Doc is going to be super popular this week. And
yeah,
like you said, the 8,500 on price tag on him is too high for cash. And GPPs even is maybe of a pivot if he's going to be that high owned. So I'm not sure where I stand on Doc yet, but that was great insight on Doc this week. So we're going to roll right into 7Ks and give me what you got for some high end 7K plays.
So the guy, I keep falling for him every single week. I say that like it's bad, but he has not disappointed me too much here. That's Maverick McNeely. He is 7,600. Yeah, I love some McNeely. He's usually cheaper than 7,600 though, but I've been saying that about a lot of guys this week because there are so many guys at 6,000, 6,500 that aren't even worth looking at. It drove the price up on a lot of these guys. So Maverick 7th in shots gained putting over the last 36 rounds, 7th in short game, and he is 22nd in DK points. So I certainly would be happy if he could put up top 25 for us. He has made back-to-back cuts and 3 top 15s in 2020. So I will take the good form on Maverick McNeely and hope he can do a little more than just putting this week, but make the cut would be about enough for me. I'm thinking about playing Maverick in cash. We'll see. Down the list a little bit, I like some Harold Varner III. If you look at some of the stats on him, there's a lot to not like, but I found some stuff I really do like about Harold Varner, and he pops up if you adjust the models in certain ways. He's certainly a guy that gives you some interest down in that range. Over his last 36 rounds, he is 6th in tee to green, 5th in ball striking. And if he can tidy that up even just a little bit this week, or if the approach game's on point and he just has to make 12 footers for birdie, he can make a bunch of them. So I like that. He is 2nd in greens in regulation, 9th in opportunities gained. And he's made 2 out of the 3 cuts since the break. So I'm hopeful to keep riding that a little bit.
Yeah, so when you told me you liked Varner and McNeely, I was like, oh gosh, I don't know who to pick in this range, because those are 2 guys I'm going to hammer a lot too. Varner popped in my model as well, and McNeely being an FSI staple, we have to keep going back to Neely. He's
him a lot.
Yeah, I got a feeling Brennan Todd is going to get some ownership. I know it's Monday, but he doesn't shoot a 4th round 75. He's top 3 last week, so Todd will have some ownership.
Great
I don't know
price.
where I stand. Yeah, the 7,800 price tag. I don't know where I stand yet. I want to see what the ownerships are going to be. If people are going to stay away after the 75 on Sunday, or are they going to just hammer them? But right, gonna give some thought on Brennan Todd and give you a little bit about Scott Stallings, who is coming off of a 6th place finish at the Travelers. He also finished pretty well. He shot a 64 on Saturday. I think he was like 3rd in the field in birdies. He was just racking them up. Big thing on Stallings is he will not pop on any model because Stallings is not very good off the tee, and that is one thing you have to be straight, because they're trying to increase the rough so that people that do get into the rough are going to get penalized, unlike last year where we saw people basically hitting from a second fairway. So if Stallings can keep himself in the fairway, he can use the irons that have been hot lately to keep himself going. He gained 4.7 last week on the strokes gained approach, and he was he gained 6.9 tee to green. So he is playing pretty good irons, and his putting has been, above average. I wouldn't say it's elite, but he's been doing pretty well. He's really good from 200 plus. So Stallings, Please find the fairway.
I like the pick. He should come in lower ownership too. That's a great GPP play.
Yeah, it's a pivot. It's a pivot off of Varner and McNeely, and I think the sixth place last week justifies it. I'm going to travel down to my favorite 7K play, and I have Munoz and Duncan, but I'm going to give everybody Duncan. Duncan is my favorite low-owned GPP play the last couple of weeks. You know, a couple of weeks ago I was on him, and he popped hard for me in the low sixes. And now he's been gaining some traction, and people are starting to realize that Duncan doesn't miss a fairway. And if we're going to get these courses, if you're going to get these courses that are find the fairway, find the green, and then you're going to score, then I'm going to keep playing Tyler Duncan. He's got a 28th finish at the, I believe it was the Charles Schwab Challenge, and then he finished up with a 28th at RBC, 32nd at Travelers. He's 9th from 200 plus, so that's a big bonus too. If he's going to be in the fairway, and then you're going to tell me his favorite distance is 200 plus on the approach, then I'm lining him up for cash this week. 25th in both approach and ball striking. Tyler Duncan, favorite 7K, low 7K play. What about you?
I like that play a lot. One last guy I'm looking at down there is Will Gordon. He had a really good week last week. He was on the leaderboard for a long time, still had a good finish. I don't love a lot of guys down here, but Will Gordon and Duncan certainly interest me a lot.
Yeah, Will had like a 8 under Sunday last week, right? Yeah, he did really well. Impressed. I was watching him Saturday though. Didn't impress me much Saturday playing with Phil, but he
tough.
You know, when I seen his name come rocketing back up the leaderboard Sunday, I thought that showed a lot for him. So
Sure.
Now we've made it to the very end, the bottom of the barrel, 6K.
Yikes.
Any darts?
6K is gross this week. It's pretty bad. There's
Dart City.
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple guys that I found that I like for various reasons here. Hadley is the first one I'll go to, 6,800 over his last 36 rounds. He is 4th in birdie or better, 12th in opportunities gained. He is 9th in DK points, which was very surprising, and 12th in approach. He finished 58th last week, 23rd at the Charles Schwab. So I'll certainly take the form there for a guy under 7K. If only he can stay hot with these irons, make a few putts, he'll be making the cut and pay off his price tag very well. The next guy I'm looking at, don't laugh, but Bronson Burgoon, 6,200. I'm not going to play a lot of him, definitely GPP, but he is 9th in birdie or better over the last 36 rounds. He is 26th in opportunities gained. He really plays well on these easy courses where you can score a lot, and he was 35th here last year, so that's pretty good. And then last bit, 33rd in par 5 scoring, so certainly he's going to score on the par 5s for us. I don't expect any ownership for Bronson Burgoon, but at 6,200, he's the type of guy you need to have in your lineup if you want to also play Bryson and not have a bunch of guys you don't like. So you put in Bryson, you put in Bronson, and then you can make things work from there. So he's a guy that I'll be looking at this week.
I love that. Burgoon, I think it was the Charles Schwab. After like 2 or 3 rounds, he was first in strokes gained approach. I'm like, are we serious? Bronson Burgoon. I remember that. Yeah, I remember that vividly from playing Showdown. I'm like, my gosh, this guy's elite from approach right now. Okay, so no, I love the play. Burgoon should be a very good, solid low 6s dart throw. My low 6 dart throw is going to be Wyndham Clark, the bomber putter extraordinaire. All he can do, bomb the ball 300 yards, get it as close as he can and putt it in. That is all he can do. Nothing else works for Mr. Wyndham Clark. But this is a course, like you said, is 7,300 yards. There's a couple long par 5s, and there's some long approaches. So I think if Wyndham can get, a little further than he normally would, he doesn't have to lean on getting around dog legs, and he doesn't have to lean on making strategic shots on the approach from 150 or 160. He can bomb it out there as far as he can, and he can get it up to the green as close as he can, and he can putt it in. He's really good around the greens. I think he's 18th in strokes gained short game. I know it's a stat you loved, and he was 10th in par fives. So, hey, if I'm looking for a guy, if I'm looking for a guy around, 6,500, makes a cut because he can score on par fives and he can get himself up and down and maybe a couple in for birdie. And he was 17th here last year. So my research was justified when I saw his course history. So I was pretty happy to see that for my GPP dart in the 6K range. Well, that leaves us to one and dones. If there is anything else you'd like to add on golfer picks this week, feel free.
No, that's it. Certainly a different feel to this week. Not as many of the stars here. A whole lot of guys that no one's heard of, which is possibly why last year the two people who finished first, second were an alternate and a Monday qualifier. So we could see some interesting action like that. I saw today Kitayama was the Monday qualifier.
Ooh,
so,
good name drop.
Why not?
Yeah,
why not?
I like that.
I'm not going to play a bunch of him, but you know what? He's been known to do a whole lot of things on the Euro Tour. Last year, he was really good in Euro. He was not very good when he came over to the U.S., but that could always change for an event or so. I'll be playing a little Kitayama. As far as my one and done, I was back and forth. I really like Patrick Reed this week, but I'm going to go with Hatton. I think he is a little more in form right now. Maybe a little bad taste in my mouth from the Reed letdown a couple weeks ago. And Hatton hasn't let me down yet here in 2020. So I'm going to go with Hatton.
So our one and dones last week, you had Bryson, correct?
I did. And for the video, you had a guy who withdrew.
Yeah. I don't think I didn't pick another guy. So
I think you went with Morikawa to replace him, unfortunately.
Oh, that's right.
That didn't go so well.
132nd. Okay, cool. All right. Bryson was what, sixth, I think? I'm just jotting these down now.
Actually, I believe he was fifth.
Fifth?
Yeah.
So you're going with what is that guy? Who'd you just go with? Hatton. Hatton was your guy this week. Okay.
I'll take Hatton.
All right. Since I am far behind now with your dynamite Bryson pick of last week, I'm going to take my boy Hovland here. Let's go with that battle. Hatton versus Hovland. Yep. That's where we were both talking about starting cash this week. So perfect.
You were right. Bryson was sixth and not fifth.
Sixth? Okay, yeah. Okay.
But I like the Hovland pick. He's got a lot of juice this week. He's played the course before. And when he played it last year and had success, it was one of his either his first or second, I think his second event on the PGA Tour as a pro.
Yep.
He didn't know what he was doing then like he does now. He's way more comfortable.
Yep. Yeah, he relied on the putter last year, and now I'm hoping that the irons and putter connect for a win. So that should do us for this week. And for this week at the Rocket Morgage Classic, I am Tim Knotts, TK Nation 47 on Twitter, and that is John McNutt, John Cool 19 on Twitter. If you want to get at us and follow us from there, join us in the Discord. We're going to be making lineups all week. Cores come out Wednesday. Now that we have one full day to do cores, I'm sure we're going to be giving you guys some good stuff. Remember, cores are for Yahoo, FanDuel, DraftKings, all showdown slates, all weekend slates, tiers, anything you name it, talking bets, anything you want to do. Just give us a follow and a subscribe button, and we'll catch you in the Discord channel. All right.
All right.
Thanks.
Sounds good. Thank you.